should turn the mic on. And I forgot I have to speak towards you. Apologize. So this is proposed local law K, regulate plantings in the village right-of-way. To improve road safety for our children, walkers, bikers, and drivers, the village needs to ensure that greenery, including bushes, shrubs, plants, and trees, are not planted or growing in the village's right-of-way. This greenery can restrict sightlines at corners and prevent pedestrians from having a safe place to get off of the street if need be. Village code and policy is being updated to specify where greenery may not be located. Are there any questions from anyone on the board on this? And look towards AJ.
Mr. Mayor, I added the changes that were discussed at the last meeting, pursuant to that discussion, and forwarded those to all board members.
Yes.
Actually, twice, so that everybody was sure they had it at the top of their inbox.
Perfect. Thank you. And if there's no questions from the board, I will open this up to the public.
It didn't necessarily make the top of my inbox, but I'll.
We don't send you that many emails.
I was going to say that to it anyway.
Okay, fair.
All right. Anybody from the public have any questions? Sir, please come up to the podium and state your name and address for the record.
Hi, I'm Tom Romino, I live at 6 Farmview Road here in
Sorry,
Southside.
your name, spell it.
Lomino, Tom,
And you,
6 Farmview Road. So I do have a concern on Law K, so I understand, the right-of-way provisions. Recently, there was, I guess, some concerns, my property, a bunch of properties about us having some greenery blocking some of the stop signs. I worked with the code enforcement here to remedy that situation, and that was taken care of. Reading the way this law is worded, it doesn't seem like there's any real gray area, and the problem for me is that I have a significant amount of greenery and trees that are in the right of way. Some trees that have probably been there since the 1950s, some really large trees. And I know one of the things I love about this area is obviously the big trees. I know there's a law around if you cut down a tree, you have to put the tree up, you pay a fine or whatever. So if this were to pass, and very strictly I'm required to eliminate all these things, I'm gonna be cutting down a couple of really big trees, and then I gotta pay to replace these trees or pay a fine or whatever. I have a lot of bushes that need to be moved. I have a significant amount of stuff that needs to be changed on my property to deal with this law. And I just don't really think it's very fair. I mean, especially, this is gonna cost me thousands of dollars, should I have to move everything on my property to comply. When the property was built, it complied with the law at the time, so that's my big concern.
I'm looking at beautiful pictures of your property. And the trees are not an issue at all.
Okay, great.
The concept is, the idea is to give residents, like Ms. Dorfman's daughter, where'd she go? Oh, there you go, hi. Like when she's on her lovely bike or scooter, they need a safe place to get off the road. So looking at what you have on the Google Earth images, I don't envision your property having it. The trees, no issue with the trees. We're not asking people to take trees down. If you had low-hanging branches that were impeding people's ability to walk by, sure, we'd ask you to prune those trees, the branches. But looking at your shrubs from Google Earth, I can't see that you would have an issue with the code because there is space for people to get off the road safely. So either you or your landscaper, whoever planted those shrubs, planted them in the right spot because it allows for safe passage. So it's not meant to be punitive for things growing in the right of way. It's really to have a clear path so that people can get off the road.
Okay.
That's really what it's about.
I would say there's definitely enough room all around my property for people to get off the road. I guess I'm still a little concerned only because of the way the law is worded, is that, at least the way I understood it, was that nothing's allowed to be there. So I don't know if there's a way to clarify that a little bit, or would it be, let's say I bulldozed the property and I had a big third lot coming around and rebuilding again, I would need to make sure that, I believe it's 10 feet is the right of way. I would need to make sure that everything's built inside of that 10-foot range, or outside of, within my property without not being in that 10-foot range. Am I correct?
Mr. Mayor, Sir, can I just show you something? Because what you may be seeing is a prior draft that has been changed. So here's what the portion that previously required any sort of removal is not going to be within the law.
Okay.
The only requirement is that they need to be put in such a way that they won't obstruct the passage of pedestrians on sidewalks for the area adjacent to the roadway. I think that's particular to you.
Yeah.
So that's where I think the mayor was focusing when he was explaining. So
Okay.
that provision that I think you may have read before is not included in the final draft.
Okay, so that makes more sense. I think.
So thank Trustee Smith, because he's the one who,
We had this conversation like at the last board meeting or two, because I happen to be an attorney. And I didn't like what you don't like, which was that it was an absolute no discretion. If there's anything, it's gotta go. And I didn't think that was appropriate. And what we've done essentially is to kind of create more discretionary decisions by the
code
code
enforcement.
enforcer here in the village. Because really what we're trying to prevent is if somebody's walking down the street and a car is coming, that they have no place to step to the side and avoid to not be in the street while the traffic is going on. So I haven't seen your house, but based on what the mayor just told me, having looked at your house, it doesn't sound like that's a problem. I have 6 bushes within 4 feet of the roadway that look an awful much like yours do. And that was one of the reasons it was very personal to me, but I think we've got it right for everybody. We don't want people to spend thousands of dollars tearing up stuff, but we also need to keep paths safe for people that are walking in the light, because we're a village without sidewalks. So.
Yeah, of course.
So yes, I think your concern, like mine, have been allayed by the changes that we made in the last month or two.
Okay, yeah, it sounds great. Based on
And thank you for
what
coming,
you're saying, I
Tim.
think
Yeah, no, thank you.
covers everything I want.
Appreciate your input.
Good
on this.
night.
If no one else has any input on this, I would like to make a motion to pass proposed local law K, regulate plantings in the village right of way. At the same time, because Jeff is giving a look at me, I would like to also make a motion that this is type 2 action under SECRA. For the purposes of the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, or SECRA, I move that the village be identified as lead agency and that this action be deemed a type 2 action under SECRA, having no significant impact on the environment, and that as such, no further action is required under SECRA. So making 2 motions. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
That would be Deputy Mayor Janice. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or recusal? Abstention? No, perfect. Thank you. Next would be proposed local law L, parking regulations throughout the village. So this law is being proposed because certain portions of Port Washington Boulevard near St. Francis Hospital have been designated by signs for a very long time that said it was a no parking area. Unfortunately, it was never in our code, so by it not being in the code, we can't enforce the no parking restrictions. And this local law is here to rectify this issue, as well as some small other parking regulations throughout the village. And I believe Mr. Blinkoff sent this out to everybody
I did
twice or once.
twice. The additional ones beyond Port Washington, code enforcement has sort of reviewed the regulations that were within the village. Many of these echo what one would find in the New York State vehicle and traffic law. And the purpose of including them here is to allow for code enforcement within the village itself to focus on these kinds of issues. You'll see that they deal with certain parking violations as well as including those that would obstruct traffic. But they're all parking forms of changes. They don't sound in moving violations or violations of the
Right.
The only additional piece is the village has always had the authority to impound vehicles in certain circumstances. This would just add several paragraphs that would make clear the sort of circumstances when that can happen, given timeframes, you know, what happens within 24 hours and 48 hours, for example. And that's on the third.
Which in my many years of being here, I have never seen the need of the village to impound a vehicle.
Just a question, why do we need an order from the mayor to do this?
Impoundment?
Yeah. If any vehicle is parked or abandoned on a highway within this village with no license plates for more than 6 hours, why do you have to, no offense to Randall, but why do you have to contact them? Why can't we just?
I think this is, didn't draft the original. I think the idea was that if somebody's vehicle is going to be taken away, there wanted to be a sense that there was, from the top, that it was an important decision that it was being made, but it doesn't have to be through the mayor. There's nothing that requires it to be from the mayor. It could just be, if the vehicle's there under these circumstances, it could be impounded. And
I'm okay with a check and balance on this.
Okay.
I mean, again, I've never heard of us having to do this, but if we do, it's fine for the village to reach out to me and I'll say yay or nay. Versus somebody.
You go on vacation like everybody else. I just,
True.
if a car is on a street with no license plates, I have a question why we have to wait 6 hours to remove it, but assuming that we are gonna wait 6 hours to do it, if this is Randall's time in Hawaii and he's on the run, why do we have to get in touch with him? I don't understand.
I'll fly back immediately.
I'm just kind of curious as to why that is, or maybe by order of the mayor, if the mayor is not available, the deputy mayor, or something like that.
Should be somebody, somebody on the board should just okay it, I think, instead of just doing it, this way, the guy who owns it has somebody to yell at.
I didn't hear the end this way.
This way, whoever's car belongs to has somebody to yell at for taking their car.
If you're parked on our streets without license plates, I don't think you should even get 6 hours. What are you doing? Why is a car parked on our street without license plates? That doesn't make any sense to me. But be that as it may, I don't know why anybody on the board has to be contacted to have it removed. That's my only point.
Who's going to remove it though?
Well, we would call a towing company, but who's going to
Right.
authorize? I think that's more of AJ's question.
Yeah.
Management. It's a management decision. Management makes decisions all the time about giving people fines and things like that. They don't contact the mayor to do that.
Make it the,
Village
administrator.
Maybe I'm being too picky, but
How about this? I concur. We can add the mayor or someone else, but for the time being, let's pass the local
That's
laws
fine.
as, and then we can modify it because we have had people parking on Port Boulevard. And I'd like for that.
oh, that I definitely.
So I don't want to hold the whole local law up for that, but
That's
why don't we go through this? And then if we need to add to it at another public hearing, let's do that.
That's fine.
And I'd be fine.
I mean, don't the police have to be involved before you can tow a vehicle, before we can just tow a vehicle? No?
the village does have-
We can just do it?
I mean, again, this has never happened. I'm here
Because I think the
26
police
years
only give
now.
a ticket to a car that doesn't have plates on it, right?
They'll take it.
Yeah, they won't tow it.
They won't tow it.
I'm not too worried. Again, it's nothing that's happened. And knowing
never
my luck
happened,
now,
so-
AJ, there'll be 5 tomorrow.
Yeah, right.
But we'll,
Well, maybe to illustrate my point, I'm gonna park in front of your house with no license plates on my car. And I'm gonna monitor your phone, and until you get a phone call, my car will be good.
one over the lake. Come on down. All right. If there's no other questions from the board, I will ask, are there any comments or questions from the public? That being said, I am going to make a motion to approve local law L, parking regulations throughout the village. And I'm going to do a secret motion because
You really should
Wendy
memorize
loves them.
that.
I'll never memorize it. For the purposes of the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, or SECRA, I move that the village be identified as lead agency and that this action be deemed a type 2 action under SECRA, having no significant impact on the environment, and that as such, no further action is required under SECRA. So I'm making those 2 motions, seconded by,
I'll second it.
thank you, Trustee Smith. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? Wonderful. I'll make a motion to close the public hearing portion of our Board of Trustees meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you.
Did I speak close enough directly towards you this time?
Perfect.
All right, good. Public comment. Do we have-
Curious, is there, no, so
What?
Ms. Dorfman did join, that's Ms. Dorfman.
That is-
Okay, and
yeah,
there's no
her name
one in the
tag's
audience. Thank you, sorry.
You
ma'am.
got it. Public comment. That being said, none. I would like to make a motion to approve the minutes of the December 8th, 2025 board meeting and the December 29th, 2025 2-minute special meeting that we had. Can I have a second on that?
Second.
Thank you, Trustee Smith. All in favor? Aye.
I
Excellent.
abstain
From both or December 29th?
from December 8th. I wasn't at the meeting.
Oh,
I had my surgery.
oh, that's right. I forgot. And you weren't here on the 29th either.
I wasn't here, so both. I have to
All right.
abstain from both. Yeah.
Treasurer's report. I hope everyone had an opportunity to look all of these over. I am going to make a motion to approve the claims in an amount of $535,724.94. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Trustee Dorfman.
I just have a question.
Okay.
I see stuff in here for paving. Is this the stuff that we discussed last month, or is this?
So this is, well, we did discuss things last month, but the paving that you see here is to pay what we approved
On,
at that special board meeting.
that's fine.
We will go into executive session to discuss the other payment.
That's why I asked.
Yes,
Thank
thank you for that clarification. So I'm making that motion. Do I have a second?
She said.
I'll second.
Thank you, Trustee Dorfman. All in favor?
Extension for the article.
Perfect. Thank you. Marla, the floor is yours.
Well, the resolution speaks for itself. We're making a resolution to reestablish a capital projects fund. So, you want to read it?
No, we don't need to read it. I just thought maybe if someone here had a question. Proper accounting says we should have capital reserve funds for certain projects. And this,
Projects fund.
capital projects fund, sorry. And this is to establish that, which goes in line with how we've done our funds in the past for other purposes.
Can I ask why we stopped?
Apparently, from what I understand was before, I think most everybody's time here. The difference between reserve funds and this fund is that reserve funds flow through the general fund, and the project funds are separate capital fund. So when you do capital projects, you can capture them, book them, et cetera, in and out in the capital fund. You can flow money from the reserve fund to the capital projects fund, but this way, it's just a cleaner way of doing it, is what they recommend based on how we operate. So, and I think, I don't know what happened way back when, however many years ago, but closing, something wasn't being done correctly, and apparently there was a knee-jerk reaction just to close that fund and do everything for the general fund. And
Susan, that
long talks.
predates you, correct?
Yes,
How many years you here now?
9,
So there you go. It was
yeah.
10 plus years ago when, and this is a cleaner, better way of doing our projects.
So in theory, this money can't flow back into operating expenses. It can only be used for capital projects.
Yes, they're dedicated funds to be used for capital projects.
Okay.
This is how you can save and amass dedicated funds to buy trucks, to do, build the building or whatever it is, through a capital funds project on which is like H accounts. If you see on your abstract, I think all the codes there, the A codes, they say A this, A that, see them all there? Yes. Okay, so in the future, when you see the project, the capital stuff, you'll see H, and it's just a different accounting.
It's a cleaner, better way for projects. Kind of like what we've always been doing for our trucks. This will let us do it for projects as well. We can dedicate those funds. So I'm going to make a motion to pass the resolution number 1 of 2020-26. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Janice. All in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. Next, our friends at the Port Washington Fire District are asking us to approve their budget. I have distributed this to the trustees. Once again, I want to thank the Port Washington Fire District for a very extensive, well-prepared budget presentation. You guys have only seen a small part of it. I get a lot more documentation than just this. They do a great job. I think they do a great job with their efforts for doing cost recovery with the ambulance corps in order to help keep taxes in check. And Frank will say great things about the Port Washington Fire District.
I love them.
See? So I am here to make a motion to approve the fire district budget for 2026.
Did you make a motion?
I just made that
Oh,
motion.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. Next, we have our friends at the Roslyn Fire District, who, in comparison, just give us like 2 sheets of paper. So,
I like the comment.
yeah, no, I kind of like and I was hoping that Roslyn was going to be here today. We invited them to come, but they did say they were going to come.
No,
Oh,
one of
they-
them,
oh.
they would not be able to come, just maybe yesterday, but they would be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Oh, I'm kind of sad that they're not here. Do we need to approve their budget tonight?
We have a contract that they will look, they will copy the contract.
Yeah.
That's what we're looking to approve.
Oh, okay. Do we have to approve it tonight? I don't know if any trustees here might have questions on the budget that we got from Roslyn Fire District. Or any questions about the contract?
Has anything changed in the contract?
Nothing that I've seen material.
And it's only a 1% increase, right?
We're getting a 1%
They want
increase.
5 total.
They want 5 in total, which I think is a little large, but
Wait, they want 5 total from everybody or 5
It-
from us?
they're increasing their budget by 5%.
Okay.
But for us, it's only a
Yeah,
1%.
because we have a small.
It also has to do with the way the assessments are.
Oh, right.
Right, because when you break things up amongst however many districts,
Yeah.
this is a
I
lot.
didn't realize they're in town of Oyster Bay.
Very small percentage.
Yeah. I didn't
You can
realize.
see it's 0.6%
Yeah,
of
I'm
their.
surprised. I don't even know where they were. I guess it's right.
East Hills.
Yeah, it's right. East Hills, probably right on the other side of Glen Cove Road.
I believe it's like touches CW Post or something. Not
Oh.
yeah,
That's
There's
far
little-
down.
I know where.
there's little slip. Oh, yeah.
I know where, yeah, it kind of almost goes behind Lakeville Estates, almost like where you're pushing towards the golf courses. There's a sliver, because it's still Roslyn School District, because I know someone
Ah.
who just built a nice house in that area. You wouldn't even think there's a road there, but there's about 10.
Well, people also don't realize Oyster Bay starts like right by NYIT.
Yeah.
So it's.
Yes.
NYIT.
Yeah, so it's like behind Lakeville Estates and Knoll Hill. There's some.
And actually, on Glen Cove Road, it's literally a block up from
Mhm.
Boulevard. So.
All right. Does someone want to make a motion to approve the Roslyn fire protection contract?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Hey. Yeah, might as well get that done with.
I guess I will be an aye as well. Next, unfortunately, our building superintendent had a previous engagement because we moved our board meeting. So in his place, is the very capable Gary Lewandowski.
Yeah.
Come on down, Gary. Make a presentation of the ARC.
Okay. There were some returning cases and new applications last month at the ARC. 45 Crabapple Road is a new single family dwelling. There was just one comment. That was to slightly revise the roof design over the garage and add some dormers to the front and the side. And with that condition, the committee was prepared to recommend approval on conditional approval to the board. On 1045, it was going back on the signage. We had already previously reviewed it, and we reminded this, it was a new sign vendor, I think, that was presenting, and we reminded that person that we had come to some agreement on the prior application to the committee, and that had to be that the sign was black. And then we had some further comment on how it would set on the facade. That was, again, conditional approval recommended to the board. New applications, 53 Mason Drive, it was a portico, minor modifications to some of the trim design. So again, recommendation to approve with subject to meeting the conditions of the comments. And then finally, 535 Manhasset Woods Road, new single family residence. The committee was aware of that there was something about the historical nature of the house. There was comment raised on that in the meeting, but in the end, the committee thought that the new design of the house was complementary to the basic character and look of the village, and so it was a fitting piece of architecture. However, the committee was not approve of the site plan, in that it seemed to disregard what the site was about, since it's on Manhasset Woods Road, which is historically was actually a property that ran alongside an old brook, that it was more of a parkland setting than a typical suburban kind of tract setting. And so they asked that they go back and readdress the landscape design, particularly trying to save the mature trees on the site, and sort of figure out ways to resite the house, reorient the driveway, and whatever, and get some input from our arborist as well on what was practical to save and what might not be practical to save, because there is some overcrowding and some scrub, we realize, on the property. So it needs some pruning or cleanup, but certainly trying to keep to the look and feel of that property as it exists now. So with that, it was not approved overall, and they will be returning to the ARC next month, or this month.
Ready. Thank you. Phone's okay. Thank you very much. Are there anybody here who have any questions about any of these applications? Mr. Cronson? I just want to remind you that our public comment portion are restricted to 3 minutes.
The return of landmarking in Flower Hill was spurred on in 2023 by the loss of the Richardson House in Planzo Manor. But here, the outcome that you saw there is not preordained. I would like to know if this board is going to allow a fair hearing to weigh on the merits of landmarking 535 Manhasset Woods as it is outlined in the code. The impossibility of initiating that process by a member of the public seems to indicate that the process is completely dead by default in doing so. Every action a municipality takes, like the ones you took today, is subject to seeker, and this is going to have really enormously permanent irreversible impacts, which is contrary to the public interest. I can understand the theoretical concern you would have about regulation generally, politically, but this is where you invested your money, where you live, and the stability and the value is in the history and the character of this area. And this value is being drained with every demolition permit that you issue. The self-determination that you have as a village is going out the window in way of speculation, and the no number of daffodils you plant is going to mitigate what is happening. The Flower Hill Code for 143-6 starts out saying the reasonable protection of distinctive places, even those that are private, is deemed in the best interest of the village. It's somewhere in the book that you have there for the code. This is your home rule law, your home rule code. And when the landmark statute was drafted 3 years before I was even born, your framers realized that these qualities make this village so important. They simply call for a transparent process, which is independent of economics or even who the owner is, realizing this is bigger than any of us. Really, the best way to honor this history is to have the gold standard, which is the Secretary of the Interior guidelines, followed the greatest extent and accept nothing less than that. Residents love what we have, and the film industry also loves it as well. In September of 1984, Ronald Reagan delivered the following in a fireside chat. Preservation of our old buildings is not only a matter of beauty and respect for history, but it's also of economic good sense. So let that sit with you for a moment. Ronald Reagan felt that this value, and even spending federal dollars, which has an ROI rivaling that of hedge funds, is something that is justified and worth doing. When the way things are going now, all that will be left are these pictures that we have on the walls in this village. There'll be nothing standing. And people will question why nobody listened. I was involved with Thomaston and Great Neck when they started their first landmark in 2021, and not a single person had testified against it in numerous hearings. Not a one. Not even the owner of the property that was in question was against it. I emphatically urge complete denial of this out-of-character application, and furthermore, it is time that Manhasset Woods has a master plan to allow only surgical tree removal in accordance with the character it has. I'll leave you with the realization the 2021 Pritzker Prize, which is akin to the Nobel of Architecture, was given to a firm which has never demolished a building. Adaptation is now the very future of design, not this vapidly ephemerality which is being allowed. And if you will give me one more second that is beyond that, for a health and safety comment, the window frames for that house at 535 Manhasset Road were wide open on Thursday. That is the risk of having flooding from pipes, having the kind of criminal intrusion that you're trying to dissuade, and that may be something to have addressed immediately by village code. Thank you.
All right, thank you for your comments.
Mr. Mayor, if I could.
Yes, sir.
So just to clarify, the village does have a provision in the code about landmarking. And just by way of background, the village has continuously taken that pretty seriously. There have been within the past several years, I think all the members of the board are aware, at least 2 hearings which have been held about properties within the village that the Landmarks Committee had a full review of. I don't disagree with the gentleman that any person can put in an application for a property to be landmarked. It doesn't mean it will be landmarked. It means that the application can be heard. In terms of process, an application will be submitted. There is a fee that needs to be submitted by the applicant, and the costs involved are incurred by the applicant. It then goes before the Landmarks Commission. The commission then reports to this board. So while the statements of the gentleman tonight are certainly of import to this board, the first step is for this to go to the Landmarks Commission. So to the extent there was a suggestion that it won't, it can. An application just needs to be submitted. The clerk has been kind enough to provide one to me tonight. I'm happy to provide it to the gentleman as he leaves here, and he can review it and then decide how he wishes to pursue this with the village or not, as he may so choose. I don't mean to denigrate or minimize anything he said. There was a process in the village code for it. This board at this point doesn't have this application before it. If an application is brought to the Landmarks Commission, I assume it would be heard accordingly.
All righty, thank you. Mr. Cranston, would you like the copy of the application?
For the purposes of the record, that's the copy of the application I'm here.
All right, if there's no other questions concerning the Architecture Review Committee notes from December 22nd, I will make a motion to approve the first item, subject to conditions. The second one's subject to conditions. And the third one, subject to conditions. The one we're not approving is 535 Manhasset Woods Road. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Trustee Smith. Other than Trustee Lewandowski, do we have affirmative votes? I vote aye.
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
So nothing
It was.
happened to the property. Nothing will happen to the property prior to the next meeting.
No, he will file an application for landmark and then we'll be.
There is no building permit or demolition
Yeah.
permit issued on that property. Building superintendent. Public Works report. So you guys all have a copy of the Public Works report. We had two nice sized snow events. And I wanted to publicly thank the mayors and the highway departments of Plandome and Muncie Park because we had some equipment failures during the first storm and we needed some help. So those two villages sent their equipment over to help salt our roads. And that is the great thing about when we all work together as villages. We help them and they help us in our times of need. So thank you to the two mayors and their two highway superintendents who helped us out here. Attorney's report, Mr. Blinkoff.
Yes, my apologies. There was one there before BZA. I reviewed the transcript, which I received from the reporter. It was at 3 Bounty Heights Road. It was a fairly straightforward application. That's a corner property, and it's a very unique property. They only have 28 feet between the rear of their home and the lot line. So under the code, you can only keep structures that they wanted to build to enjoy their property in the rear yard. They wanted to have a grill, they wanted to have a barbecue, and they also wanted to put up fencing to maintain privacy. You can't have fencing in the front yard because it's corner property, they have 2 front yards. So essentially, if they don't build outside of the rear yard, they couldn't build any of these items. They had a presentation by a landscape architect, William Dubner, and the board found that it was appropriate to grant under these circumstances. It really is a unique circumstance. The only change from what was originally submitted is the applicant had proposed that their screening plantings would be on the inside of fencing toward the homeowner. The board asked that they put that on the outside of the fencing. And with that, it was approved, and that was the only matter that went forward. I will check against the transcript I have now received. If there's a change or any amendment, I'll submit that to the board later.
Okay. Well, thank you for that report.
That's all I have.
So now it's my report, Mayor's report. The good news we have is we finally got approved for our DASNY grant. The great thing about the DASNY grant is we're getting $125,000. Thank you, Marla, for doing all the necessary checks and balances paperwork. And Jeff had to sign off and I had to sign off. And the state keeps on sending nonstop sign-offs on these things and requests for information. So thank you very much for that.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, with respect to that, the board had, during the course of a special meeting earlier this, in December,
Yes.
had resolved to approve the DASNY grant, that was subject to formal ratification tonight at the full board meeting.
So yes, I was going to get to that
Oh,
once I
I'm sorry.
finished speaking about what the grant was all about. So the grant, for the board who doesn't know, we're able to use that for, I guess it's an overall safety grant. We're going to improve the lighting, the external lighting at Village Hall. We're going to be replacing that door with an accessible door. We're going to be building new ramps so that people who need the boardroom, if they want to come to vote, they want to come to board meetings, we have something that's safer for everybody to use. And also, it's going to pay for a new code car. Our code car is, I used to have it written down. It's really old.
Yeah, 2004, I think, or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
And
20 years old.
we've invested some money to keep it running, and the AC always needs recharging. So part of that grant is to get us a nice new plug-in hybrid electric car, and the monies are also going to be used for the charging station as well.
Nice.
Now you can ask questions, Gary.
Is there a formal outline scope of what we're thinking of that this covers? I mean, you just rattled off a bunch of things. Is this written in the written form somewhere?
It is written in the grant itself.
Okay.
Yes.
Is it vague enough that, well, I don't know, or maybe it's specific enough, but I think our lighting on our flagpole and sign needs to be improved. So I hopefully we can incorporate that into this if that's part of the plan. I don't know.
It's all external lighting.
Okay. Good. All right. So it's right. We can massage it.
Matter of factly, just when I met with one of the lighting vendors, they have all sorts of interesting things they could do for the flagpoles.
Right.
That came up as one of the topics.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
Excellent. That's my only mayor's report, which is good. Trustees report.
Do we need to ratify?
Oh, sorry. No, we got it. Yes, thank you. I jumped ahead of myself. So I am making a motion.
Is there then a motion to ratify the prior
Thank you.
resolution from the special meeting?
I will make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Well, if Gary didn't ask the question, I was going there next.
It's all right.
It's all right. AJ's
That
keeping
was-
me honest.
We're a team, don't you understand?
Thank you for-
I hit you on the right, he hits you on the left.
That's good. I like it. No, you knock me down, he picks me up. That's good. Any trustees reports?
I just want to make a comment at this meeting that last night, something happened on Mason Drive where a large flow of water came down the street and iced up this morning. And I was going to call the village this morning, and by the time I was going to call the village was already out there. They blocked traffic for a little while, and then they salted it. And by the time I left for work, I worked from home until about 10:15. By the time I left for work by 10:30, the street had been salted and cleaned. And I just want to compliment you guys on doing that job and for catching that. And I will next time try to figure out where the water actually came from. But it was an extremely dangerous condition, and it did get
We
addressed.
tried to find out this morning, and the source had dried up, so we couldn't tell where it came from.
Yeah, it was a lot of water.
Yeah. No, and that's also thanks to our highway department. They do every morning. Everyone has a zone. They all split up and drive the roads first thing in
That's
the morning.
weird, though, that'd be that much water and it just stops. Right? If it was a pipe.
It was,
or,
I mean, the joking with my wife and I is that we call it the River Mason when it rains hard. It's the River Mason.
yeah,
And it
maybe
was the
it's-
River Mason last night, and we couldn't understand why, because it obviously hadn't rained. And I didn't really think much of it last night because it was just water, but then of course this morning
You all
it
froze
became
up.
ice.
Yeah.
No. And as usual, my end of the village, every snowstorm, the streets were cleaned again.
It's incredible.
Incredible
Yeah.
job that they do with that.
That's what they do. Thank you, Rich. I know he's watching, or he'll be watching the replay of the broadcast.
I have a couple of things to mention.
Oh, go for it, Gary.
Just catching people up on the water protection committees. So for Hempstead Harbor Protection Committee, there was a long report put together by Eric Swenson on all the good things that the committee does. And I did prepare some notes, but I realized I did it last week because I thought our meeting was last week. And then I pushed it aside and I forgot to bring it with me. So I will have it for next month. Or I can I'll just email it. I'll just email it. It's just a quick summary of what I thought were the key things that we should be aware of as a village on what that committee does. And then for Manhasset Bay Protection Committee, there's a meeting this week, which will be hopefully ratifying a final or at least a pretty close to final draft of a water quality report by Nelson and Pope that, again, will be a pretty significant piece of document to guide the committee in going forward on protecting Manhasset Bay. So and if everyone's interested, that's on Thursday night at Plandome Manor, Plandome
Town Hall, right?
Town Hall,
Yeah.
7:30.
All right. That's it?
That's it.
Okay. We had lots of items. All right, I'm going to make a motion to go into executive session to discuss 2 legal matters that we have in front of us. So do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All righty. Thank you, everybody, for coming, and we will come out of executive session hopefully in a few minutes.
Do you need me for this?
Yeah, just take like 2 minutes.